I am really, really bored. I've had enough. I think so. I'm going home. Hello and welcome back to my channel, Khon Kaen and Isan. And today, I was actually, again, just like I was the other day, I was going to go to Wat Nam Weng, which is like the famous temple in Khon Kaen. But one, the weather was terrible again today, and two, I've been under the weather a little bit, so I decided it probably is best just to stay home and make a video from the comforts of my own home. So today's topic, well, it's one that a lot of people overlook, but for me, especially after living here so long, it's very, very important to consider. And this is about boredom. Now, if you, I don't know, if you come from England, you come from America, if you come from Australia, Scotland, wherever, and you're used to a certain lifestyle, used to having your own hobbies, used to having things your own way, a lot of people come to Thailand and expect the same. Now, if you're living in, say, Pattaya, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Hua Hin, Phuket, places like that, there's a lot going on still, and you'll probably be okay for quite a long time. But if you decide that Issarn is your go-to place, if you want to go and retire or get married and live or work or whatever in Issarn, yes, which is the northeast of Thailand, as I've mentioned, like me in Khon Kaen, it's completely different. It's a different way of life. It's not the same as back home, no matter what. Yes, they have bars, yes, they have certain things, but, you know, shopping centres and things like that, but that's where the buck stops, you know? It's not quite the same. And I remember when I first came over to Khon Kaen many, many years ago, I was in awe. I loved the place. When I very first came over, actually the first time I came for a holiday, there were no signs in English, it was everything. You'd be on a motorbike, you'd stop at the lights and people are like touching my hair or my arms because like, wow, they'd never even seen a foreigner hardly. Now it's completely different. There are many, many foreigners here and it's a lot more foreigner friendly than it was. But I was in awe, I was amazed how good it was. And just going to 7-Elevens, we didn't have many in England at the time, just doing little things like that anyway, going to a local mum and pop shop or as I would say, a mum and dad shop. You know, just going to the cinema or going anywhere, it was a wonderful experience because it was all new. But after about 6 months, maybe a year, that novelty wears off and things become normal, kind of thing, like it would back home. You know, when you're in England or wherever you're from, you live there, things become the norm, and it does so here. It's inevitable. Wherever you go in the world, it will happen. Now, if you go into somewhere like London or if you go into somewhere like Bangkok, it may take a lot longer to get to that stage. But if you live somewhere like Khon Kaen, Udon, Ubon Ratchathani, Korat, anywhere like that, Boredom, you'll run out of things to do. Yeah, and that novelty will absolutely wear off. So, what do you do? Now, unfortunately, I've seen it all too many times where people just turn to these guys right here. This one, beer, not this particular brand, I'm going to have to go with the branding anyway, I think this, beer. Beer is a big go-to, and worse still is when they get onto the hard stuff like this, you know? It's not so good to do so. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a beer, I love a whiskey, and if you can just see it over my shoulder there, you can probably just about pick some of them out. That's my whiskey collection. I've got a little collection, sorry, it's going off there. I've got a little collection of whiskies, and I do on occasion love to have a little snifter of whiskey. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with having a few beers. But like I did for a number of years, I believe I became a borderline alcoholic because there was nothing else to do, or you don't think there's anything else to do because you don't know people, you can't speak the language, you can't go out, you can't meet new people. So you end up going to the bars. Yeah, the little foreign bars, or the shop houses as they're called, a lot of them, and you just go, and then you go again, and then you go again and again, and it gets to the point whereby that's all you do. It gets to 5 o'clock. What are you going to do in the evening? Sit and watch Thai TV? That's what it used to be like. There was no Netflix, nothing in the olden days when I was first here. What do? You just go to a bar because there are other like-minded people there who kind of are all looking for the same thing. So you tend to drink, and I do believe genuinely I was a borderline alcoholic. Now, I wasn't. I classify more as a heavy drinker. I'd have like 6-8 big cans a night, whatever, go home, then I'd get up the next day and go teaching, and which is why, to be honest, actually teaching saved me. I actually believe if I wasn't teaching, I'd have probably drunk a lot more. But I was drinking to the point where I'd just go home, crash, wake up at 7 in the morning. I was actually okay. But the problem for me was it was routine. It was as much routine drinking 6-8 cans a day as it was brushing my teeth. It's not good, is it? It's not good for you financially or physically, and it really does take its toll after a while. I was actually on my teacher's wage. I was probably spending more than half on beer and going out. That's not good. So what can you do? How do you get over this? How do you do anything else? Well, you can't come to Thailand if you're coming to live, especially forget the rest of the country. Let's just talk specifically about Issarn and Khon Kaen and the bigger cities and even the rural areas in Issarn in the northeast. It's quite difficult to find things to do, but once you've stayed here for a while and once you get to know more people, and if you can pick up some Thai, you can eventually start to find out that there is more to do. Like, for example, what I'm going to do now, just for the next minute, so I'll just quickly tell you about me and my hobbies. Excuse me. When I was in England, I basically loved football, fishing, and food. They were my 3 Fs. That was me, down to a T. I love beer as well, but they were my 3 hobbies. I never classed beer as a hobby unless you make it, and you do, and then you can't. But it's actually technically kind of illegal over here to do so, unless you produce about 10 million gallons a day. So I loved fishing. I loved football, like watching the Premier League, watching my team, Man City. I used to watch them. I used to travel around the country in the late 80s and 90s. I used to travel around the country following them when they were terrible. Came out here and became big. Thanks for that. But I can still watch every single Premier League game on TV, on True Visions, and there are. You can go for the full 2,000 baht or 3,000 baht, I think it is, or 2,400 baht for the top package. I wouldn't. I don't need it. But for me, I really wanted to be able to watch the Premier League and watch it in HD. And so that leaves you with 2 packages. You can either go for the full really expensive one, which I didn't bother with, or you can go for, you basically have to buy the basic package of about 300 baht, and then it's 400 baht just for the Premier League, and the Premier League only, which is what I went for. It's about 700 baht a month, which is about, I don't know, 20-25 quid a month, something like that, $30, I don't know, something like that. And that guarantees all 380 games, and you can get them in English. And you also have, unlike of about 5 years ago, you also have the build-up, you have commentary in English, everything's good now. You have pundits in English, you even have like, John Terry and Sean Wright Phillips and Jim Carragher. I'm joking. And others, you have lots on there that, so it's good for that. So that kind of covers my football. I'm not saying you're into football, if you're not, it doesn't matter. But there's also other ways of getting other sports as well. So you can keep up with your sport, and that keeps me busy. But it's still not quite enough, especially being most sport from England is on in the middle of the night. Yeah, if you're lucky, you get Saturday night 9 o'clock game, great. But quite often it's 2 in the morning, so it's not always perfect. So I ended up one day I was sat in my front garden and I watched this dragonfly about this big, and he just swooped in, went, landed. I just watched it, off it went. 2 seconds later, back again. And this time it had another fly in its mouth and it was eating it. And I just sat there amazed going, wow. So I watched it for ages and it just got me to thinking, why don't I try and take photographs of them? Because I've always liked nature because of my fishing and being out in the wild and rambling and God knows what else. So I thought, right, so I went out and bought a little camera and started taking photos, and they weren't very good, but it didn't matter. I was just enjoyed being out there. And eventually got in touch with some guy, a Thai guy, who could communicate in English and a bit of Thai or whatever, and he was IDing some of the dragonflies for me before I had any idea. And before I know it, I'm head over heels in love with like nature and dragonflies, and I've actually got a blog, I'll show you there, that's on dragonflies. I've also got one on butterflies, and I'll leave the links below if you ever want to have a quick look at them if you want. I've actually neglected them a bit for the last few years, but I get out there and I've now upgraded. This is my latest one. This is a Canon 90D. It's a beast of a camera with a battery pack on the bottom, and this is the mother of all macro lenses. This is for like really close up work. This is 180mm dedicated macro lens. I'm not saying everyone will go run out and get one of them. They're actually hard to get, to be honest. But what I'm getting at is I've come over here and I found something else to do. And for me, it was massive. Now I go to, let's just say on an average week, I'll go to the forest one day a week. Yeah, sometimes 2. I'll do an overnight. Sometimes I go with my brother, sometimes I go alone, sometimes I even go with my wife. And then it then takes another day, 2 days, 3 days even, sometimes depending on how many photos you take, to process the photos, to then get them ID'd or try and ID them yourself, to then do everything. And then you join communities on Facebook and the groups and everything. And before you know it, you're kind of making good friends, proper friends, nice friends, rather than just bar friends. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with bar friends, but if that's all you have, there's no outlet, there's nothing else, and you end up just doing that. And I also read and do other things, but this is my baby, this is what I love to do, and because of that, I've made many friends on Facebook and other places where we communicate, we talk about, insects and animals and other things, or whatever you're into. You might be into flowers, you might be into gardening. If you like gardening, brilliant, get yourself a nice garden if you can afford one. I just got a piece of concrete at the front. But if you can afford a garden, do that, tend to that, that'll take your time. But even then, you could join some of these groups, they will help you, because again, Thailand's different, it's a different climate, it's probably more difficult to grow plants, probably, I don't really know. But you understand where I'm coming from. Because what I'm trying to explain is the worst thing I would like for anyone who's considering coming out here and comes out here, and after a year, or whatever, maybe, sorry, it just keeps going off. After a year, people, they go to the bar and it becomes that routine. It becomes as routine as brushing your teeth. I'm sorry, no, that's just not the right way to do it, because I personally know people who have turned to the drink, as I've done. As I said, I was a borderline alcoholic. In my opinion, probably heavy drinker / borderline alcoholic. And I think it was the teaching that stopped me from becoming a full-blown alcoholic, to be honest. Because I couldn't till with a hangover. That would have been unfair. That's not nice. I've never done that. I never will. But I've seen many, many people, they come over and they just prop up the bar and that's all they do, And I've known actually far too many people who've died at a young age because of alcoholism. Because I even know one guy who literally, I'm not mentioning any names, but he literally woke up about 7 a.m, went to the toilet, and the first thing he did after that, go downstairs and crack open a can or a bottle of beer. 7, 8 in the morning. I'm sorry, that's just wrong, you know. And that's coming from someone who used to drink a lot, you know. So no, not good, not a good thing. So yeah, that's really it. That's all I really want to talk about, to be honest. But of course, go out. And I think it's really, really important to, just before I finish, I do believe it's very important to go out and to drink beer out. You don't have to drink, you don't want to drink beer, but as I mentioned before, it's nice to go out, maybe just make one night a week, make a dedicated night a week, maybe even away from your wife. Just one dedicated night a week. You go to a little local bar on a Thursday. There's a local bar near me. I don't actually go out much. There's one near me, and every Thursday they do a quiz night. So you could go out, you could join the quiz night, you could have a few beers, let your hair down if you have any left, unlike me. And, you know, that would be a good thing. Just don't make it a daily thing, you know, because I got to the point I didn't have any money to pay my bar bills, and I'd build up a big tab and have to pay it as soon as I got paid when I was a teacher. That's no way to be, you know, so don't do that. Anyway, so that's pretty much it really. I've just been discussing boredom and how to avoid it if you're a foreigner coming here. It's very easy to fall into the trap, and the trap being this stuff. Yeah, we don't want that. Not every day if you can help it. Nothing wrong having a beer or a whiskey every now and again, you know, a couple of nights or whatever, but don't make it your life. So if you're coming from your own country, don't expect it to be the same, because it most certainly isn't. There are a lot of things missing in this country, but there are a lot of other things that are far better. So come over, have an open mind, and of course, first 3, 4, 5, 6 months, well, sit down, let your hair down, do whatever you want to do, great. But after that, try and get yourself a hobby. It might be a friend of mine, he likes fixing computers. Another friend, he actually coaches kids at football. Fantastic, you know. And he does that 3, 4 nights a week, and he meets up with their dads, and they go out, they have a beer now and again, they do things. But it's all positive and good, you know. Anything you can do, anything that's just not sitting in that bar, you know. Or even worse still, sitting at home and drinking a lot of cans, as I've done as well. It's not a good thing to do. So that will do for today, because I wanted to keep this one quite short because I need an early night. Because tomorrow, I'm actually going to get up very, very, very early, and I'm going to take you guys to experience this. I'll show you my hobbies. As I said in my very first video, it's not just about trying to explain things. I want to show you. So I'm going to go and I'm going to take you to a national park. I'm not going to say which, actually. You'll see tomorrow. Maybe the day after tomorrow, whenever you get it, I'm not sure. So it might take a while to edit, and I might have to go for 2 days. I'm not sure yet. But when it's finished, I'll upload it, and I hope you watch all of it, because this place I know has some cracking caves, some waterfalls, amazing mountain ranges, and sorry, it's going off again. And I'm going to try and capture as much as I can and show you what you've got on your doorstep, because this is still in Khon Kaen. Okay, so if you're interested, don't forget, any comments, how I can help you with anything to do with your hobbies or anything, if I can in any way, I will. You know, I know there's there's a couple of fishing parks, there are 3, maybe even 4 golf courses here. There's a lot going on in Khon Kaen, but you need to know about it, yeah? So if I can help you in any way, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, like and subscribe, because I really, really want this channel to succeed. 2 reasons. 1, I need it because I don't have any financial income anymore. And secondly, I really want it to succeed for you. If I can help, you know, if we end up just helping one person, but it really helps them, my day is done, you know? So that'll do for now. I hope you're looking forward to my big adventure to the national park, that I'm not going to say where it is. And I'll see you on the next video. Okay? Take care. See you next time. Ta-ra for a bit. That's it. I'm so bored.